It's 6. No, it's 5 o'clock. I call the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting to order. Start with roll call.
Commissioner Harnell.
Here.
Commissioner Lambert.
Here.
Commissioner Twomey.
Here.
Commissioner Boyson. Chair Aldridge.
Here. First thing on the agenda is a conditional use permit for an address to be determined on Waterview Drive for Rogue Eagle Mini Golf, Luke Lindstrom and Kim Sorensen. Are the Gilberts still the owners of the property? I saw that they made the application for the permit.
Yes, the Gilberts still own the property. I believe there's a purchase agreement in place.
Okay, and they signed the permit, so we're good to go there. Who is to speak on behalf of the ownership tonight?
You have Kim and Luke in the audience to speak, Chair.
And would either like to come up to the microphone and speak to the subject? Please identify yourself before you speak.
My name is Luke Lindstrom. It's nice to see the people I do know. Those I don't, nice to meet you.
My name is Kim Sorensen, business partners, also parent and son.
And please explain your proposed use of the property.
So we intend on putting a miniature golf course, an outdoor miniature golf course on the property, along with a clubhouse cafe. In order to, really we've kind of, the business plan has revolved around bringing some fun to Proctor, along with obviously business, tax revenue. We're really excited about the opportunity. The location is fantastic. We feel it'll be obviously beneficial for the community. We're really excited, and I went to Proctor. I graduated 2013. I won't say when you graduated. She graduated from Proctor 10 years ago ish. But yeah, yeah. I don't want her to start smacking me or something. You want to add anything?
Yeah, we come from, a big family, many of which went to Proctor. My mom went to Proctor. My grandfather possibly, did he ever go to school?
Just say you did.
Anyway, we have a very large family. Most of the people are from Proctor. The nieces and nephews still are in the Proctor School District. So we have long time ties here. So.
Do commission members have questions for the applicants?
I think the packet contained pretty much, most of what we need to know. Very well put together, whatever you guys your part.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
I have one question. Do you foresee fencing around the whole course? Do you picture having fencing, like security fencing around that whole area?
We do, just especially for security purposes, when we're not there, even in the winter, we're going to have more limited hours with the cafe, and just to be able to, and when it gets dark, just,
And that would just be like chain link or something
yeah,
like that?
chain link, yeah.
I just have a quick comment that when I look at my packet over the years, it's usually super boring. I'll be honest with you. So when I open up my packet today, I was really excited that something new was coming to Proctor, and I was like, wow, that is cool. And I told my whole family, wow, that is really cool. So that's just my 2 cents worth.
Thank you. Yeah, fortunately we've heard that from quite a few people. In our packet, we included some letters of support. And yeah, bringing mini golf to Proctor, it's fun. We're really excited. We're not trying to do something weird. We're not trying to, it's not going to impede on the community. We really think it's beneficial to all parties involved. And it's just, I'm very excited because I love mini golf. So that's all I'm going to do. She can do the work, and you'll find me playing it. So.
Yeah, and, you know, we think it's a compliment to Spirit Mountain, not really competing with Spirit Mountain. I think people are gonna come up in mini golf and then go over and do the timber twister and vice versa. So I think in that way. Also, you know, the whole area, you know, the Proctor, Duluth, Esco area, we need something like this. We have for years. I've been wanting to do this for 20 years. And so, you know, just to have another family-oriented activity for people to do, scouts, church groups, what have you, to go in and be in a safe environment and a fun environment for something that a 4-year-old can do or a 90-year-old can do. So that's it. You know, that's one of the reasons we've really, really wanted to do it, and just we love the location.
Now, is this, is the course set on a, now, do you design it to fit the topography, or are they standard holes, like the pictures that you've sent out, you know, are they kind of the same holes no matter where you go, where this, you know, this particular Rogue, you know, what is it? You know, the Rogue Eagle Mini Golf, is that a franchise you're buying?
Nope. So that is just our business that we came up with. I won't go too far into it, but our mascot is Bogey the Eagle, who goes on an adventure. You know, great for the kids to kind of see that kind of fun stuff. So that's where the name comes from. As far as the course itself, we went through a lot of different companies. We did end up landing on Harris Miniature Golf. They're based in New Jersey, and this is what they do. They're extremely professional. The examples we put in the packet, that's actually a course in Florida that they built. So it'll be similar to that. Some of the holes will be identical. You can kind of see, this is in, so this is in your packet. That is kind of the proposed layout. And what they do like to use the existing topography. Saves us money, helps, you know, environmental stuff, that kind of thing, not bringing in fill. So they try to use it as much as possible, which they've kind of planned out. They have the topography maps, they have that kind of thing. We also have a civil engineer coming in just to ensure water is managed correctly when it comes to the building and that kind of thing. So yeah, they've been doing it for, I think the guy I've been working with has been there 25, 30 years. So yeah, we felt that they had a ton of experience, played their courses. The courses are awesome. And so yeah, we're really excited to be working with them.
So right now you're showing a single curb cut off of Boundary Avenue?
Right now, that's the plan. Right now, what you see as far as the plan too, it's coming off Boundary, and there is one 18-hole outdoor course. We have the 2 acres. That first course in the Clubhouse Cafe are going to pretty much fit on the first acre. We're hoping down the road, phase 2 comes in. I mean, sooner than later would be great. Would be another 18-hole mini golf course set in back of that. So then as you can see, I think, you know, you come in on Boundary and the parking goes along the side of the
So in phase 1, there wouldn't be much interference traffic-wise to the existing residents on Waterview?
There shouldn't be, no, not with this plan right now.
Jay, has it been reviewed for the right number of parking spots, or would that occur with the building inspector?
Well, I think that's our job, isn't it?
I was just asking if it has been reviewed.
Well, I looked at the parking regulations, and it's kind of a mismatch of,
Yeah, and it fits better with seating in a restaurant than it does something like this.
yeah, and I mean, there's so small square footage. The building itself is so small.
Right.
I mean, they would be way over what was required for parking spaces.
Yes, within a building, certainly.
Yeah.
For the seating within their building, certainly.
I think is it one parking spot per 100 square feet? So it'd be like 12 or 13, which we hope would be not enough. So, I mean, that would be a good problem, you know, but, I mean, there'll be more spots than that.
Yeah, I don't know how to do it for an outdoor facility like
Right,
that.
that was where I was stumped, kind of, so. It kind of gives us the leniency to figure it out.
This existing parking over here, is that part of this property?
Is not.
Which,
No.
the existing,
You're speaking about the parking by the hotel?
Okay.
If that's the parking you're speaking about, no, it is not. There's no existing parking on this. There's just the inlet off of Boundary.
Drawing
that
appears
cut-
like you got about 32 or 34 parking spots right next to it as it is, so.
That's probably just what's proposed. If you're looking right at the, yeah, that's so you're talking right along the course itself. Yeah, that's just what we're proposing.
Yeah, it's 38.
Just kind of the initial
38.
drawing. Yeah, doesn't exist yet.
I mean, you know, as far as anything being built or even going in and clearing land, we have just signed the purchase agreement. So without, especially knowing that we're going to be able to do this, getting the special use permit, we didn't want it to go too far because we don't own the land. You know, we expect that if we are able to do this and you know, we are able to get the conditional use permit, we have things pretty much ready to roll. I mean, we've been working on this for quite a long time, as Jess would purchase, I mean, attest to, but.
We really like to bug Jess.
Yeah.
It's our favorite thing to do.
But so we are ready to go. You know, we're, once this happens, I think we've got everything set in action as to what needs to happen next and next and next. And we have the people in place.
Jay, other commission members, do you think we need to delve more into the number of parking spaces tonight? Or, I don't think we have a good measurement just for exactly this kind of business.
No, either did I. I mean, it says in other cases, parking spaces will be determined by planning commission prior to issuance of permits or licenses, but
And you'll be back before us at the time of the permits for C1 building, but that's generally pretty straightforward. John Bray, is parking something that we can have under conditions such as if overflow parking is a problem, then da-da-da-da-da?
Yeah, then we can revisit the issue, yes.
Because you have a second acre there, and with our unfamiliarity with just this kind of business, and you have another acre, I think we can maybe have that as a condition as we move forward here tonight. Are there other conditions that members are interested in? I'm thinking we need a condition on lighting, excuse me, so that we'll want lighting that is pretty much pointing down, and we're going to want lighting that doesn't disturb the residences that are nearby. So that'll be, as far as I'm concerned, one of the conditions. Do members have other conditions that they think are needed on this type of business?
them are the two I had in mind, lighting and parking, so.
It's important, I think, for both Luke and I to be good neighbors, you know, and we don't want, you know, we're not there to harass or to shine lights into anybody's or play music at 3 in the morning or anything like that. So, you know, that makes total sense to us about having the lighting shining down where you want it anyway. You know, unfortunately, our season is short for mini golf, so there's, you know, a lot of natural light being provided during our season. And if you think about it, you know, at the end of June, we still have till almost 10 o'clock and it's still light, you know, so, I mean, are we gonna have lighting? Yes, we have to, but I don't see that, you know, there'll be a huge use for it a lot of the time.
So it won't be a problem. to,
Yeah.
to
And
shine it down, and don't plan on having any spotlights or anything going into people's windows or, big.
Those big things.
Yeah.
We're not gonna do that.
They state that the hours would be 10 to 10, but we should probably have that in there also, because I think 10 o'clock's a good closing time, probably.
Yes.
I didn't drive down Waterfront, and I haven't, I guess, really studied it very much, but I was wondering about, like, other businesses in Proctor have, like, on-street parking when I think about Proctor Builders or, Proctor Pizza and other places like that, and I don't know how wide Waterfront is, but, I mean, is it possible that, and I don't know if there's no parking signs there right now, but that, in my mind, maybe that's an option as far as parking goes too. And then Boundary, I'm sure there's no parking signs all the way on Boundary too. And because I see cars parked there and it's pretty wide shoulders, so.
With the future parking going up the hill, parking isn't even an issue, I don't think. You're gonna expand to your future parking lot. If you're lucky enough to fill that one.
Right, yep. Yep, we'll have the initial parking lot, and then, obviously, if we do when we do the second 18, we'll add additional parking. And like you say, if the biggest issue we have is that it's too full, that's a great problem to have, and we will manage that with more parking spots.
We would like people not to have to park on Boundary Avenue, because if they have to, there's gonna be kids, and if they have to cross that and that kind of thing, we just prefer that not to happen. So, and then really, if there is a problem on the other side, it becomes, then you're dealing not only with Proctor, then it's Duluth. So, I'm not sure who governs that side of Boundary Avenue, if they're parking on that side, but I would assume it's Duluth, I'm not sure. But we just as soon avoid that whole thing.
Yes. We have a number of written comments that are in our packet. Have there been any other comments that we have not seen, calls in or?
You have, Chair, you have one citizen who would like us to call to give some comments during the public comment period.
I'd say this would be the appropriate time to do that.
Did you guys run an ad in the paper looking for comments? I've never seen this many comments. Oh, yeah, no, I think it's nothing but a good thing. Like right now, like my grandkids, like most grandkids, love to play miniature golf. And we end up over at that Captain Jay's.
Yeah.
Once in a while, we go to Cloquet just for a different place, but yeah, there's not too much of an option around. Oh, yeah.
Yes, I'm ready. Hello. Hi, my name's Tom Aldridge. I'm chairing the hearing for a conditional use permit. And who are we speaking to?
I am Dale Nyman. I live at 37 Waterview in Proctor here.
And do you have a comment on the proposed buildings here, or the proposed use?
I do. I guess I have to comment in the negative. I realize you're trying to raise money by having a new retail space here. However, living across the road from the place I imagine that is going to be torn up, we're going to be losing our wildlife and our country feeling out here. We're also going to need extra police protection, at least for the first 6 weeks, for traffic control and for people trying to figure out what's happening. We're going to have people parking in the streets trying to get there and so on. We're going to have a little bit more of light pollution. We have a light at this storage unit place that is on all night, and it comes in my bedroom window. I happen to be facing east, so I'm heading, my window is facing right to it. That was brought up to the council here a while ago, and nothing was taken care of on that. We're going to have a parking problem. I don't know how big of a parking lot they're going to have in this complex, but there are going to be extra people parking on the street here. It is not that wide of a street, however. There's going to be extra noise. There's going to be a lot of traffic. We have an old people rest home next door to us. There are a lot of older people living in this complex themselves. I'm just thinking that if you build a retail with a recreation area down here, I'm going to lose property value. I guess there are other things that I should bring up, but my little pea brain doesn't think of them right now.
Noise pollution from the freeway.
We get noise pollution from the freeway, we get noise pollution from Boundary Avenue, we get noise pollution from the railroad. Please don't put more down here.
Don't take the trees.
The wildlife that we get here, we have deer, we have a lot of different types of birds that come up out of the wood area. We're going to lose probably half of those. So I guess that's what I have to say.
Yeah, thank you for your comments. Were you aware that when you bought into Waterview that you were buying property in a commercial district to start with? That the property where you are has always been zoned commercial.
No, I was not aware of that.
Yeah, so the builders of your development decided to ask for a commercial zone and then built housing in it, which is allowed, but your housing is in a commercial zone and has been right along. So,
in other words, you can put as much noise as you want, as much lighting as you want, as much traffic as you want, and I have absolutely nothing to say about it.
no, sir, we're interested in what you have to say. We've been talking about the parking, and they, at this time, have a single parking lot with access only off Boundary Avenue. So hopefully it will contain all of the cars that are coming to their property. If not, we'll look at further expansion of parking. We've talked to them about lighting, and we are still in that discussion, but so far we're discussing having lights that only point down and should not interfere too much with nearby housing. So
They're going to be introducing this area to a bunch of people that are light-fingered, and just to let you know that some of the residents in this area do leave for anything up to 3 months at a time. Their houses will become unprotected. Are you willing to put the extra police force on that?
that isn't for us to say within this group.
Well, good luck with your decision.
Yes, and you're welcome to stay on the line as we move forward within the meeting here.
I have nothing more to say, therefore I am going to say goodbye.
Thank you for your comments.
Good day.
How about the hours of operation?
So as it's planned right now, 10 to 10. So we wouldn't be open any later than 10 p.m. during the peak season, so our mini golf season. During the winter, when it's obviously just a cafe, it'll be much less than that even. We're not going to stay open till 10.
And I'd like to add that to the list of conditions that we're working on right now, that closing time will be no later than. Commissioners, are we ready to move forward? Need further information?
I'm ready to move forward.
This is probably a silly question, but the clubhouse restaurant is going to have a public bathroom in it, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Actually, 2. Yep.
There are standards too for the mini golf that have, is it ADA? So,
Yep, ADA.
So ADA, so, and I think it's up to 9 holes have to be accessible. So that will include, you know, that would be the bathrooms, the 9 holes. And
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, and we're really excited about that too, because, you know, handicapped people will have access to 9 holes of the mini golf. So we're really excited making it accessible to, you know, everybody. So that's another fantastic thing. It's good to bring up.
Other people in the audience, did you have anything to say on this subject? Please identify yourself.
My name is Heidi Johnson, and for 19 years I was at the Mountain Villas, first as a front desk representative and then later as the assistant general manager. And I just wanted to say that after working for 20-some years in hospitality, we often had guests looking for this exact thing in the area. I worked at the Spear Mountain Villas, and as you know, Spear Mountain does have a mini golf course there, but nothing to this caliber, and I think it would be very beneficial. I can't tell you how often we had requests for this exact thing. So I'd just like to add that.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, members, are we looking at 3 conditions? One concerning parking, that if we have overflow parking during the first year, that additional parking will be provided. Is that an okay way to go about the wording? Okay. Lighting should be, what's the best way to state it? We want it to be pointing down. We don't want to interfere with residents that are nearby.
And don't allow any light-fingered people there.
Hopefully not. And hours of operation, no earlier than, do we need to have an early time? No earlier than 7 a.m. and no later than 10 p.m.
I like all
We
that.
actually talked, I can't see where 7 a.m. would ever come in. We talked about maybe doing some kind of, you know, this is one of those things where what works, you go with, and maybe do some kind of a coffee in the morning.
7 a.m. should suffice.
I think 7 a.m. would be fine. We don't have a desire to become a coffee house.
Right.
You know, that's not what we want to do. We'd be, you know, our hours would be crazy then. So I think if we do decide somehow to serve coffee in the morning, 7 o'clock would be fine.
Okay. Members, John Bray, do you think we need any further conditions?
No, I've been thinking about that. I usually throw in a provision that says that they will apply with all applicable federal, state, and local laws. And for the lighting, I usually put that it doesn't unreasonably project onto neighboring properties.
And the wording on the parking, was what I said adequate?
Yeah, I have a pretty good notion of what to write down here for that. I think what I would do is say parking shall be pursuant to the city code, but subject to review.
So I think we're about ready to close the public hearing. Yes?
How about, the only other thing I can think of is like dumpsters or something like that must be in a contained area, you know, with a gate or a screening so that you don't have a dumpster behind a restaurant that's visible from the street. But you probably wouldn't anyhow, but just this way it's there.
So dumpsters not in public view?
Right.
So by that, you mean just a fencing or something around
Yeah,
them? I
just-
mean,
just-
'cause
just-
we have to still have them accessible to whoever's.
Oh,
Yes,
yes, you know, if
certainly.
you come with the front thing, you know, just, you have to have a gate, you know, that you just open up, kind of like most of the restaurants.
Just like
A lot of them have,
Dunkin' in the shop.
Yeah, okay.
yeah.
But that's visible.
If we have it. I mean, it's got, I think that's, it makes it invisible.
Okay, are we okay on the gist of the conditions? Because we will go back to our regular meeting and flush that out, and then we'll probably take a vote before going on to the next item if everybody's in agreement with that. That okay? Okay, I'm closing the public hearing. We are now in our regular meeting, and I would like to discuss this item right now and move it along if we can. So we're suggesting 4 conditions for the conditional use. And we have parking. If there is overflow parking during the first season, additional parking will be provided. John Bray, how did you state lighting?
That it will not unreasonably project onto neighboring properties.
Hours of operations, no earlier than 7 a.m., no later than 10 p.m. What's our 4th?
Dumpster enclosure.
And the dumpster.
Yeah. Screened from public view.
Anything else?
Do we have to make a motion on that then, or?
And this would be a recommendation to city council that we are making, and it would go there, when?
Monday, May 3rd.
Monday, May 3rd, it would be before them.
I'll make a motion. We recommend to the council the conditional use permit with the four conditions that we talked about.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Oh, we need a roll call still.
It's not a bad idea. Commissioner Harnell,
Yes.
Commissioner Lambert,
Yes.
Commissioner Twamy,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyson,
Yep.
Chair Aldridge.
Yes. So that's it for tonight. You're certainly welcome to stay and listen to the rest of our meeting, but it wouldn't hurt for you to go to the May 3rd City Council meeting in case they have questions for you as well. So we are making that recommendation to them, and good luck with your business. I hope it all goes well.
Thank you so much.
And that
When do you
meeting's
hope to
at
be get going
6
on this?
o'clock.
As soon as, I mean, it was.
Oh, wow, good. Oh, of course.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, there goes our audience.
We have a variance request, 809 Almac Drive.
Yes, I can.
Hello, I'm Tom Aldridge. I'm chairing the variance hearing that we're just starting, and you have requested a mud room to be added to the front of your home, which would require it to be built into the required front lawn, correct?
Correct.
And you're applying for a 8-foot by 12-foot structure or addition, but you are actually considering building 8 feet by 10 feet instead, correct?
We were going back and forth between 10 and 12 feet, and we have not settled on the exact width. So I'm requesting 12 feet so that I have enough if we do go with the 12-foot option.
Yes. And you are in a R1B zone, which requires a 35-foot setback. In your drawings, your home measures 38 feet from the sidewalk, and the sidewalk is at least close to the property line in front. Hard to tell looking at the county online maps.
Tom, I was out there. I mean, I think the right-of-way goes 8 feet further than the sidewalk towards her house.
Whoa.
We came up with the figure, it was 30, her front yard was at 30 feet right now, you know, from the right-of-way to her existing house.
Okay. So if this were to project, so the whole house is off by several feet now, you believe?
Correct, and that's just poor man's survey, you know, we went off where the water valves were, but they should be pretty close to the right-of-way with the new construction and stuff, so.
Okay.
Usually that's the divider between, you know, right-of-way to the private property is where all the curb stops and stuff are.
Yeah, I was looking at the online aerial photos on the county site, but they have told me in the past that don't go by those, they're often off by as much as 7 or 8 feet.
Right.
Okay, so we are under the, we now think that the entire house is sitting in the required front lawn up to the point of 5 feet. And so this, you're looking to project 4 feet more or 8 feet more?
My understanding is that I have a 4-foot allowance without requiring a variance, so we're looking to project an extra 8 feet. And I think Jay had mentioned that I'd actually be requesting 4 feet in addition to the 4 feet I'm allowed.
But your whole entire home is already projected into the required front lawn, so we'll need to think some more about that.
That was the part I was unclear of. I mean, if your house is already in the front yard setback, I mean, do you go from that point, or do you go from where it's supposed to be, you know?
What if we move forward with the discussion about our general direction, and then if we need real specifics, we'll work with John Bray and try to get real specific on it.
That 4 foot into the front yard setback is for decks and porches, not for additions.
Well, it's 10 feet if it's an open deck or porch. It's 4 feet if it's an enclosed mudroom or whatever.
Yeah, but does enclosed mudroom, as you're saying, is the same thing as a porch then?
A porch enclosed.
Ms. Sorensen, would you call this a porch that's being enclosed, or is this an addition to the house that just goes directly into the house?
It will be an addition, well, I guess it depends on how you define that. So the existing door will be opened up. There will not be a door between our current living space and this addition. So I guess it would probably technically be an addition versus an enclosed porch.
Okay.
Because of that fact.
Thank you.
And this
It will not have any, you know, there'll be electrical, obviously, and a supplemental baseboard heater, but we're not going to run any other, heating supply or anything to it.
So you're looking at footings and so on to attach it to the house. It's going to be attached to the house.
Correct.
And does this 8 feet, does that include the overhang going towards the street?
I'm sorry, can you ask that question once more?
Yeah, Commissioner Tommy asked if the 8 feet accommodates for the overhang going out towards the street.
The roof overhang?
Yes.
The roof will be angled I suppose there will be a little bit of overhang. We have not gotten as far as to drop exact plans, just because I wanted to first get the variance, so we could, we could have the total dimensions include the overhang, to equal 8 feet. I hadn't thought about the roof, I guess. Does the roof need to be within that setback requirement too?
You've asked for a variance, so you've asked for an 8-foot variance, and so, yes, the roof would be included in that 8-foot variance. We've published at 8 feet, so it's not something that we can readily increase during this hearing.
Okay, that's okay.
Correct, John Bray?
That's correct. You can go under it, but you can't go over what you published.
John Bray, they asked for a 4-foot variance, but they're asking to build an 8-foot addition to the home, which is already not meeting
Right.
setback. Is this something can we even do that the way it was published?
They asked for.
Can I just add a comment?
Certainly.
I don't know if this. When Jay was out at my house, we talked about this because I wasn't sure how to phrase it. And in our discussion, he had recommended writing it this way, and that if an adjustment needed to be made, that we can make that. But that's why I wrote it this way, was based on that conversation.
Right. I'm just wanting to make sure that we can do what you're asking for the way it was published. So I'm asking the city attorney that.
Okay.
Now, they asked for an 8-foot variance, correct? They're already how far are they already sitting out into the setback?
I would say 5 feet.
Okay. When was that porch built?
It's not a porch,
not built.
it's a house.
Well, it's a house. The entire house is sitting?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think we can, the way it was published, because they're varying from the requirements of the code. The code actually, unless they were an existing nonconformity when 1975 rolled around.
Yeah, I asked her when it was built, and I don't think she knew exactly, but.
Okay. What we should probably do is republish, asking for, 8 plus 5, 13 feet? Then rehear it next month.
And then, well, I mean, if she wants to get 8 foot
Overhang.
plus the overhang, she should ask for another foot on top of
Okay,
that.
that
then.
makes sense.
Yeah, at least another foot.
So 14 feet.
So that's the 8, the 5, and
And
the
the
1 foot overhang,
Yep.
14 feet.
So, Ms. Sorensen, the advice that we're getting from council is that we need to ask you to revise your request and to republish. And because we can't give you a variance larger than what has been requested without publishing it. So it looks like you would be needing approximately a 15-foot variance, give or take. Was that the number, Jay?
Yep.
So we think you need a 15-foot variance because the home apparently already sits in the mandated front yard. So that is.
Okay, so we have to go through the process of publishing and then attending the next hearing?
That,
Or the next planning commission meeting, I mean?
that looks to be the case, now that we have found that your house probably already sits within the mandated front yard. It probably doesn't meet the required setback already. So
There's no fee for her though, is there?
that would be up to City Hall to determine. I would hope there wouldn't be a separate fee.
I
Not
would
to
recommend-
reapply, I wouldn't think.
Yeah, if it was something that we published in error, or didn't have clarification on it, then that's us. I do have a question about Commissioner Twomey's discussion of whether this is an addition or a porch, because I would hate to go through this process again, and then that question comes up again.
If
And
we
we're-
just treat it as an addition right off the bat, then we are okay either
Okay.
way, is the way I look at it.
Good. Thank you for clarifying that.
I just have a question about, okay, we're just kind of guessing at where the right-of-way stops in front of her house. Isn't a normal rule of thumb, you know, you never really know for sure, but isn't it 33 feet from the center line of the street?
Yeah, and I took that measurement and it came within a foot to where the curb stops and stuff were.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
I could be a
so-
foot, I could be a foot or two off for sure, I mean, but
Right, I understand. Okay, so we're in the ballpark then, yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Just for my clarification, where are we measuring from?
It'd be 66 feet from the center of the road.
Well, 33
Right.
feet from the center of the road is
To-
typically the right of way,
Yeah.
but there's
front of the
curb
house.
stops for your water shut off, and that's usually where the right of way ends and the private property starts. They put that right on that line.
Okay.
And that's why we had the metal detector out, that's what we found, that metal cap for that shut off.
Okay.
And then I wheeled off from there to your house and it was 30 feet.
Okay.
But it's supposed to be 35.
Right. And that's the part I didn't know. I mean, if it's not correct now, I mean, does it just 30 feet automatically become her required front wall, yard? But I mean, there's a lot of houses in Proctor that don't have 35-foot front yard. I mean,
An awful lot.
Council members, do you think it is worth her while to modify her request and come back before us next month?
Well, she kind of has to. We can't grant, what she asked for won't help her.
I think what he's asking is which way are we leaning towards if she does?
I wouldn't want to tell her to go and modify her application if we had a majority of people already thinking they wouldn't vote for it even as it stands now. So I wasn't going to state it that openly, but that is what I was thinking, that I wouldn't want her to spend a lot of time if people already had made up their mind that this was a bad idea. So do you think it's worth her while to move forward?
Yeah.
I think I'd be in support of it.
Okay.
This is Commissioner Harnell, I can just speak that if, like I drove by just right before our meeting and looked at it, and your house lines up with the other houses, it looks like, on your side of the road. But oftentimes the way I vote is if there are neighbors that don't want it, then I'm a little more apprehensive to vote yes if there's a bunch of neighbors that say no. So that's the way I feel. If there's nobody that says no, then I would vote yes.
I always look at public safety. I don't see anything about public safety and a addition to the front of that home.
I would think looking at a 15-foot variance, you're taking almost half of what the setback is supposed to be, so I would have a little problem with that.
Yeah, that's fine. I was just wanting to get the general feel before asking this person to go through this all over again. So we have now done that. So, Ms. Sorensen, you've heard the input from commission members, and to move
I
it.
have, yeah.
So to move this forward, what does she need to do? Fill out a new form?
Yes, yep, fill out, and you're specifically, we're talking about what setback, 15?
Well, it isn't like it's really 15 feet because the house is already 5 feet, encroached.
Right, so she wants to add on.
10.
She wants to add on 10 feet,
Yeah,
so,
it's 10 feet from the existing, so it
So-
isn't like she's gonna
But-
add 15 feet to the front of the house.
no, but she will be
No.
15 feet into the required
Right,
front lawn.
right.
So Ms. Sorensen, you would need to go back into City Hall and do a new form, and off we would go for next month if you do this in a timely manner so that it can be published and get on our agenda.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
thank you. Sorry for the runaround.
That's okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Chair, the question was of when the house was built, and I just wanted, the record shows it was built in 1976. So I think maybe you were hinting at a nonconformity, or,
Yeah, kind of a grandfathered in nonconformity, but it is, maybe we granted a variance for having that house built there in the past, I don't know.
I think not, from just
Yeah, probably
general
not.
information, just what I've heard.
I think it was built in, what, 76?
that's what the property record indicates.
Which is when, same year general, that our zoning ordinance took effect?
75.
Ah,
That's why I asked.
okay, we are down to a hearing about amendment to the city code for definition of a structure. And as we discussed a month ago, we simply want to take the words out about collapsible.
Chair, when you voted on this or had it go forward after looking at the zoning code a little bit closer, a change or an amendment to the code requires public hearings before it can be brought in front of the city council.
Has there been any public input from the publishment of the hearing?
There has been none.
So this is the same language that we dealt with last month. And we simply want to get rid of the phrase, "or anything not collapsible." Commissioners, any comment? If there aren't any comments, we'll go back to our regular meeting and proceed through. Okay, so the hearing is closed for this. We're back in regular session. And would you like to take up this item right now and be done before we move forward on the agenda? Okay. Any discussion, or would somebody like to make a motion right off the bat here?
I'll make a motion to recommend council the change in definition of structure in the zoning code by removing or anything collapsible.
Anything not collapsible.
Anything not collapsible.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oh, I did it again. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Harnell.
Yes.
Commissioner Lambert.
Yeah.
Commissioner Twomey. Commissioner Boyson.
Yep.
Chair Aldridge.
Yes. I wonder if there's some way on this little tablet to set tabs so I'm not paging back to the agenda every time.
Yeah, they should already be there.
Oh, they're at the bottom, aren't they? There we go. Okay, we have the minutes of the Monday, February 21st meeting, Monday, February 22nd meeting before us.
I moved the minutes.
And do we have support?
I'll support.
Any discussion? Hearing none, do we need to go to roll call even on this? Well, it doesn't hurt anything. Roll
Yes.
call vote, please.
Commissioner Harnell.
Yes.
Commissioner Lambert.
I'll abstain.
Commissioner Twomey.
I wasn't here.
Commissioner Boyson.
Yep.
Chair Aldridge.
Yes. And we have tonight's agenda before us.
Are there any corrections, are there any additions? You know, make motion we approve as submitted here.
Second.
Any discussion? Vote, please.
Commissioner Harnell.
Yes.
Commissioner Lambert.
Yes.
Commissioner Twomey. Commissioner Boyson.
Yep.
Chair Aldridge.
Yes. And do we have a document that goes with 1A?
I
I
am
don't
not-
think there was one in the
yeah, I'm
packet.
not- Oh. Would you like me to answer it? City of Proctor Planning and Zoning Commission, this is Jess.
Is this in the packet?
It was,
Um,
What are we looking at right now?
the permit list.
Oh, it's on a separate one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a separate attachment.
It is not. It is not on the agenda, no.
Gee, is there progress going to be made soon on Pine Avenue? Not that you know of, or?
I think he's got road restrictions issues, you know, he can't get cement trucks or anything in there, so he's gotta wait till road restrictions are off. But he's all permitted and ready to go.
Good to see all the housing starts that we've got.
And then Kirkus Street house is,
Instant house.
it ended up being a nice site, I think, for the guy, and it'll be nice.
How's our setback on that one?
They're right at, I think they're 70 feet from the center of the road, so they're right there.
Okay.
Yep.
Looks
668 is required. I think it was 70.
Yeah, I'm really jealous how fast that house went up. I'm like,
Yes.
dang. Wish I had that crew. Into Crane.
You just bid the wrong job,
I know.
but they don't have your benefits.
Yeah, the mistakes you make when you're in school, in college. Like pick a major.
Any other comments on this item on the agenda? Oh, Jay, do you know what the construction's gonna be on Railroad Street?
He is still working with Jim Rich, getting all the correct documentation in. I mean, he submitted plans that just weren't up to par, you know, he's got to get an architect or a design professional involved and stuff, so.
Okay.
They're working through the permit process. On this golf course thing on Waterview, when they submit for building permits, does that have to come to this board again, or is what we did tonight enough?
I think technically it needs to come back in here.
Okay.
It's a commercial building.
Yep. I just wasn't sure if this qualified for us approving it or not.
It looks like they're ready to move pretty quickly.
Yeah, she said they'd like to be playing golf there this, late summer.
We're all for it.
It's awful ambitious.
Well, I hope she knows that she has to come back here, first of all, and then I hope that we don't hold her up, because what are we going to say? I mean, are we going to go against Jim Rich and what he signs off on? I can't believe I would. I wouldn't, personally, speaking for myself.
So we don't have any building permits sitting in front of us tonight to take action on. So I think we're down to 14 3rd Street Garage. Anything new there?
John, that's your baby.
What's the name on it? I don't recognize it by. Peter who?
He's the one that added onto his garage. Incorrectly, but he got an engineer to sign off on the way he built it, but he wasn't in the zoning regulations. He didn't meet the side yard setback.
No, I have
So,
not done anything on that.
we
so
sent
I
him a
will do something
letter.
about that.
With no response, and then you were gonna take over.
All right,
That was a few months ago,
then he needs to be sued.
because he never,
He never
I mean, we can give him that
responded.
letter, give you the letter we sent him,
Right.
the second one or whatever, but.
The name doesn't sound familiar to me, but the issue does.
It's got several names, that's fine.
Oh, all right. I will start a suit.
Six A, sand storage facility. Sand salt.
Yeah, that name doesn't.
Would you like me to speak to this item?
Please.
Yeah. So as the memo explains, the city of Proctor received $500,000 to build a new sand salt facility that came in compliance with our stormwater runoff permit. The commission, we formed a committee that consisted of representation from many committees and commissions with the city. And as the memo explains, you can see through it, but the committee is recommending a location underneath the power line areas on Kirkus Street. And so this facility was looked at for many different reasons: feasibility, space, zoning, topography, the possibility of future expansion. And it will be going, the council has approved it to go move forward as well. So it will be coming in front of the zoning commission as a conditional use. And it is allowed as a conditional use according to the code, the zoning code. But before we brought it forth with a formal application, just like you to make you aware of it. If you had any questions, comments, concerns that we can address during the design phase would be helpful. One thing that I wanted to point out is, so it'll happen in 3 phases. It'll happen with the sand salt storage facility being built back in back of the property. And then in tandem with that, a 40 by 60 garage, approximate size, will be built for storage of the sand salt movement equipment, loaders, trucks, and whatnot. The committee is recommending, this current drawing that I put in front of you has this 40 by 60 garage near the back of the property. And the committee is recommending that we explore putting it towards the front of the property and for it to look residential-like. And then that way, the larger building can be tucked back off the street, more hid from public view. So when you look at it from the street, you'll see more of a residential-sized garage rather than, and it will have residential features to it rather than a sterile public works facility. But your input and your comments will help us along in the planning process so we don't get to the conditional use part of it and then changes are made and we have to go back to the drawing board with it.
My question when I was looking at this site plan, how do you access it? Where's the access? I imagine you come off of Kirkus Street.
Correct.
In relationship to the hockey rink, where is it?
So how can I explain it? I don't know, what's the approximate distance from, it's quite a ways away from the hockey rink.
Yeah, I mean, there's that
line.
huge power line that runs through there.
Right, oh, yeah, I've been up there on my four-wheeler and stuff, up on top of the
Yeah.
hill and down.
So the buildings would be on the west side of that, and then the salt sand dome would be on the east side of the power lines.
Okay,
We'd have to, the access road would run under the power lines to get to the salt sand dome.
so, okay, we have to build our own road to get to it then,
Correct.
new road.
Yep.
And a platted, will it be in a platted right-of-way type thing, or just,
No,
I
it would
don't
be
think
more of
so.
a driveway, more of
Okay.
an access road than a public road.
okay, because you said that, you know, the first building, this 44 by 60 would look like a residential garage from the street, you know, will it be that visible from the street?
From Kirkus Street, it will be.
Yeah, it'll be,
Okay,
Yeah, I'm having trouble telling how far it is off Kirkus Street. So the sand salt storage unit is about how far off Kirkus itself?
You know, that hell hasn't been determined 100%. So if those are questions that you're concerned about, we can definitely make sure that those are addressed in the planning process.
yeah, because the only thing I was concerned about is, you know, we'd always talked about wanting to have that area set aside for residential or, you know, possible future residential expansion. And if we're gonna put this, you know, industrial complex in the middle of it with, you know, the dump trucks and the loaders, and you might, you know, kind of,
I think the power lines are really
I understand that.
shy away from the.
Right, it isn't a real desirable,
Yeah.
but there's still parts of it there that could be, anyhow, just a thought.
Yeah, and I think, you know, you could still do residential if you extended Pionk, you know, there'd still be,
Right, yeah, that's where I've been, like, if you extend Pionk up past the hockey rink, up into there, like I said, I ride my four-wheeler up there on top of the hill, and it's really quite beautiful up there.
Yeah.
And, you know, the power lines would be behind you if you did some residential there and stuff, so that's what I was wondering, if this was anywhere near that. You know, just wondering.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was certainly something the committee did take into consideration, you know, and it was more the feeling that what's the possibility, like you said, of houses being built underneath a power line and, you know, yeah.
I realized I wouldn't want one there, so I don't think too many other people would either. So,
Jess, you said that it was allowed under conditional uses. Which number did you use for
So
that?
I'm looking at, under the current code, Jay, I'm looking at 155-273.
Page 273?
No, I'm sorry, it's page 132, and the code is 155-273. This is of the new proposed code, but it also matches, I mean, the numbers don't match,
I
but
see.
it matches, the language matches.
Well, what's the language that?
So a conditional use may be granted for any public or government-owned leased building not permitted in a particular district, provided that the permit shall run for not less than 10 years. That's one part of it.
Okay, so this is in, okay, this is
Yeah.
under conditional uses,
Yeah.
it's not under R3 conditional
Right,
uses.
and yep, and then there's also like some height, there's special exemptions for height, the height requirements for public buildings.
Yeah, I saw
Yeah.
that, because that's gonna be this thing's 45 feet tall, the salt dome, so yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
I'm having a tough time finding Kirkus on my map. I just don't really see where, I see the power lines, but where is Kirkus in this whole thing? Probably. Here you go. Is it right there? Is that Kirkus, that line?
You can see where it's lighter?
Oh, that's the road. Oh,
There's a sign up.
wow. No, I really can't see it, but I can see it now, but not really. It's really, okay.
So, Jay, on the document that we got. Yep. At the bottom where the color changes, that's the road?
Correct.
Okay.
And that was just so guessworkish,
Yeah.
so like Jess stated, we're gonna, talking about switching the buildings around, putting the smaller one in the front and the bigger one in the back and stuff.
Is that pond existing already? Is that like there right now, that
Yeah.
pond? So I know, okay. So I know where it is.
And it could, I mean, it's 100 by 100 by building on this drawing, without really looking at the topography and looking where things lay out. It could be an 80 by something,
Are we-
the building could be a different configuration.
Are we talking about the salt storage though right now and not about the blue building there or the?
So the larger picture is to initially get the sand salt storage moved to this location with the
Okay.
40 by 60 garage.
Okay.
And then a third, if you would call it phase, is to eventually move the whole public works facility to this location at the public works garage.
So the 500,000 is going to cover the 40 by 60 in the sand building?
The 500,000 is going to cover the sand salt storage.
Okay. And how big a building do you have now? Just curious.
It's 40 or 60 by 100, I believe.
Oh, okay.
But then we got
So
the
it's not quite big enough.
cold storage building also.
Okay.
And the 40 by 60 is going to be in partnership with Public Utilities. They're going to have a garage space. It'll have restrooms in it, not public restrooms for the public to use, but for workers, it'll have some office space in it. So it's looking at expanding, taking everything that we have here and putting it there eventually.
Okay. Thank you.
So as you look at it, contemplate it, drive by it, and you have questions or concerns, please feel free to forward those to us.
I think my initial comment would be we don't want to see anything there that is going to deter from housing being built. So,
And I would say PETA, Economic Development Authority, also feels the same, and I think the council does as well.
that's my big issue there.
That's my feeling too.
Six B, codification, land usage, zoning. We got our books.
You got your books, and this is an opportunity as we recodified. The process has been going on for some time, so some things may have been acted upon. This commission acted and changed some of these things. So we're just asking that you carefully review this new code and the sections and maybe things that weren't caught in the process. The council is hoping to adopt the new code within the next 2 to 3 months. But we'd ask you to review the relevant section to this commission.
Will do. I'm anxious for it to be online again.
Me too.
We're down to member concerns. We'll start with Jim Twomey. Anything, Jim?
Any update on 842-6?
You're gonna have to remind me, I'm like John, I don't,
Yeah,
I don't
need
know
the name.
addresses.
I think I know which one you're talking about.
That's the one we boarded up.
Oh, yeah, there, in fact, this is what the caller was calling about, asking what is being done about 842 6th. And we had a reported break-in of the property, and so in working with Attorney Bray and the street crew, we boarded the property up so it could not be entered. And I've been in conversation with the homeowner, and she has a potential buyer that she's working with right now. And they understand that it is to be tore down. So we're first letting that go through that process to see if we can't help her get the property sold and into the right hands. The gentleman that called did want to speak to that. He thought it was on the agenda, but I told him it was not on the agenda, so that I would call him and I'd make arrangements to talk with him about it.
Member concerns, Jay?
I got a couple things, I guess. We talked about last meeting, how you decipher between what the front yard and the side yard is. And I think it was just under definitions that it said the front yard is the part of the
smaller
lot that
dimension.
is the shortest
Yeah,
distance.
yeah, that's the way we've done it all these years. Whatever
Yep.
the
So-
shortest distance on the property.
Simple as that on that. Second thing is, I've been working with the guy on Second Avenue. You got Midway Sewer, then you got Bart Berglund's house on the corner, then you got the creek that runs through there, kinda. It's not a creek, but the waterway. And then the next house on the right, he wants to build a garage. And I've met him out there a few times, and what I've been telling him is that there's no alley there, so his front yard setback is 35 feet. But then there's language that says that if the neighborhood
Yes?
is at a distance, you can move everything forward. So I've been telling him that he can build his garage even with his house, the front of his house. All the other houses are in line with that. And it's about 50 feet from the center of the road. I just wanted to make sure everyone agrees with that before you see a building that looks like it's pretty close to the road.
How big a building's he thinking?
He hasn't gotten that far yet.
Yeah, isn't that somewhat, if 40% of the homes are closer, you can follow suit with them? Ain't that how it is?
Something like that, yeah.
Yep.
I don't even know if he gives a percentage.
Yeah, but isn't that for houses and not accessory buildings?
Well, it's the same, if it doesn't have an alley, it's the same front yard setback.
Okay.
If it has an alley, then you have to go back further. So I just wanted to throw that out there and make sure everyone kind of was in agreement with that, and
So I just have I just think it's weird. So first of all, but like, so you're saying Oak Street where I used to live, where I had no alley, I could have built my garage right next to my house, right up front, like, let's say 68 feet in if I did meet setbacks. But I came and got a variance back then, but
that's the way
just,
I understand it.
wow.
I mean,
just think
that's
that's
why I brought it up,
aesthetically
just in
ugly.
case anyone
That's just, I'll put
wanted
that
to
on the
argue it.
record. Yeah, sheesh.
John Bray, do you agree on that, that we don't need a variance, or?
I would agree.
Can we change the language? Can I make a motion? Just, okay, forget it. It was sarcasm, sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't hear a second, so I'll just withdraw my motion.
You think about like the houses over there on 6th Avenue. Some of them are way back there. They could be 100 feet from the road. If they wanted to build a garage up towards the road, they could, you know? It's kind of that same situation. It's just, it's weird because of where it's at, but.
Yeah, I know. I remember calling one of our commissioners on Boundary Avenue, and the house is way back there, and the garage is up front. And I said, "Does that meet setback?" "Oh yeah, it does," I was told. And I'm like, "Wow, that looks a little weird." But and I think there's a garage on 3rd Street, something 200 3rd Street in Proctor would be the address. It's a yellow house, and I remember it's been there for quite a while, and I just think that looks very odd way up front, like even with the houses. If you're familiar, it's pretty close to the corner of 2nd Street and 3rd Street and 2nd Avenue. That one looks weird, I think, but that's just me.
Jay, on the one you brought up, is there going to be any public safety issues with the garage that close to the road?
No, visibility-wise with traffic or anything, I don't believe so, no.
Okay.
I mean, Bart, that corner lot is huge, so there's a lot of leeway there.
Member concerns, Lowell, do you have something for us?
Well, it's kind of on the sarcasm, but I'm not sure why I get roll called first. If we went alphabetically, I'm not the first in the alphabet, nor am I the oldest one here. And I feel like there's a lot of pressure on me. Like I mean, today it wasn't so hard, but some days it's kind of hard. Like, how is everyone else going to vote? So I think we should maybe either A, do it randomly, or B, alphabetically, and not do the same every single time.
You're a natural born leader, though.
It was, it's in the zoning, it's the best looking down.
Best mustache? Or worst?
Yeah, worst, yeah.
That could probably be switched up.
It's Megan's fault. She puts it on there that way.
Bob, you have anything, member concerns?
Yeah, I talked to, I don't know, Megan or Jess about this one day, about, there's a house on the corner of 1st Avenue and 6th Street. I think it's it'd probably be 2 6th Street. And it's a junkyard. I mean, it is, they got a couple of pickup trucks there generally, and they're full of scrap iron, miscellaneous scrap iron. The whole backyard is mud. There's no grass, there's no anything anymore other than mud. And they got a bunch of crap in the front yard, and they got cars on the street. It looks like a salvage yard. And it just, it's very, very unsightly. I think there's more than one issue with it, I think. And what we can do about it, I don't know, but they built a nice garage, but I don't know what they got in it, if they got anything in it at all. So I think we should make an effort to try to clean it up.
I know the police did tag some of the vehicles that didn't have proper licensing. And I think the mayor and the chief do a spring drive-through, and I'm sure it'll be on their list.
It is on their list, and
Yeah.
they're currently working with the owner.
Yeah, because they had one car on a trailer, and they had a motor hoist. They were pulling the engine out of this car while it was sitting on a trailer, and they're doing if I had to sit out and look out my living room window at it, I'd be very upset.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be neighbors need to call
Yeah,
every day, every week.
but then
And-
again, a lot of times neighbors don't want to get into
I understand that, but that's how things
I
get
know, I
done.
understand that too, but,
And we have fielded several phone calls from the neighborhood.
Oh, good.
So it's
Well,
elevated the process a bit.
good, because it needs to get cleaned up. That's my issue.
I failed to bring up the draft we were given when we came in today, City of Proctor Advisory Committees. Are you looking for input from us on
Yeah,
this?
so this is an initiative started by the mayor to, one, if other members of the community were interested to sit on a commission or a board, this is a document that we can hand them explaining the roles, the duty, meeting times of each commission and committee. And then also, the mayor has asked to not set term limits, but set term lengths. So if you, like, this commission, there's nothing in the code
well, I
that says
guess-
how long you are to sit.
We're out of here, Tom.
Yep, that'll do us in.
And you can reapply. It's just after your term is done, if you're interested in serving, it's just not an automatic re-upping. You reapply, so it gives other opportunities to other people in the community. And so this is in draft form. This is in draft form to the council. And again, asking you to review it just to make sure the language reflects what you feel is your role and membership on the Proctor Planning and Zoning Commission.
One thing right off the bat is that planning and zoning is often an advisory commission, but it is also, when we take actions on a variance, that is not something that can be reviewed by city council. So that is an action that we take on our own, not advisory.
I'll look at the code on that. A lot of this, actually,
Okay.
a lot of it I took right from the code, so just make sure that that's clarified.
On members' concerns, for myself, things I found while looking up something else is that the county zoning map does not match with actions that we've taken lately. So I brought it up before the meeting to Jess. And Jay had also noticed that the property next to Waterview where the mini storage is still residential on the map. The properties that the city annexed in the southwest corner of the city now shows all C2, and some of the property way in the back there we left at R3 is my memory of it. Remember, Bob?
Sounds right.
So I found those two right off the bat. I was just looking next to Waterview, how is this zoned, and, oh, that's wrong.
Yeah. So if you could review that, what I did was I took the last known zoning map, which again, took action, much like the code, and the map wasn't upgraded when you made changes. So they were given the information, the best information that I had. It's not hard to make those changes, but we should really closely review that zoning map to make sure every decision you've made since that publication is reflected in the map.
I guess one other thought that I just had, are we collecting the proper property taxes on the railroad property that's down here? Because we got a new business that's down there that, I don't even know what they are. Look like I got road grinders or stuff like that. And there's, stuff going on there that they don't come to the city for, because I don't know if they need to, because it's industrial. But, I don't know the property value, I don't know what the values are, but are we up to date on taxation there?
So those are reviewed annually by the county assessor, and it's
Right.
based off, well, and you're right, they don't have permits, so they're not catching it on the assessing level based on permits. Local Board of Review is coming up, so that would be a good time to review those values.
Yeah, just a thought that I had, because that's, hell, we're like everybody, we need as much revenue as we can get. So,
Out of turn, but I thought of a couple things. The shed got moved on 9th and 5th in Jim's neighborhood there. He removed that. And then the fence on South 2nd is also removed, kinda.
Partially removed with a little different decor.
I think he made it into
And a yard swing.
a yard swing and a grapevine holder or something,
Because
but
I've noticed that, but the guy has something legit going there, because if you go right straight across over to South First Avenue there, they got the kids' play swing and thing in the front yard, so pretty hard to argue against that one, I guess.
oh, so two things that got taken care of.
Good. I'll need to take a look.
Yeah.
Do you think maybe you should talk to the owner of that property over there, that fella addressed from Waterview about the light shining over to his?
Oh, from the storage, yeah.
You know what? That was brought to us at one point, and I'll follow through with it.
Yeah, you didn't go out there with the lumen meter? or
Well, I was
whatever?
gonna, but the place is so dang secure, you can't get in there, and then, you know, you gotta do it at night, and I was nervous about walking through, I mean, I'll just go up there with the police some night and monitor it,
Yeah.
because it was brought up to us a long time ago.
I mean, he's probably the only person that's brought it up, I don't know, but
Well, he seemed like kind of a grouch anyhow.
Retired school teacher.
Yeah, retired shop teacher.
One of them
I
guys.
kind of have the impression that people buying in there didn't check the zoning of where they were buying into and didn't realize that they were buying residences that were in a commercial zone.
Yep.
Well, shouldn't that be in a deed? I mean, shouldn't that be presented to them? You know, I mean, normally people don't think of that to ask them, I don't think. But that should be when you're buying the seller should have to disclose that, I would, as a courtesy, if nothing else.
And a lot goes to say towards transparency, although it be maybe some mistakes in it, having the zoning map in St. Louis County Land Explorer is helpful for people to have that information. So the more transparent we can get the code up online, get correct zoning maps, you know, that's all good information for the public. So we'll keep chipping away at it.
And things I like to use.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
It's my job. I'll second that then.
All in favor?
Roll call?
Aye.
Roll call?
You already shut down, so we didn't roll
Aye.
call it.
Anybody opposed?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
yes.
Yes.